How's it going, y'all? Welcome to Word and Culture. We got some great content for you today. A bunch of Christian influencers are getting around the table talking about how to grow your platform, how to grow the church, what's wrong in the church, what's right in the church, and how can we advance the kingdom. If you haven't done already, subscribe to our channel, like it, and we're going to get straight into the video. I hope you like it.
Let's get it.
Let's take the opposite side of the equation now. So we're talking about people who are maybe critics and not doing the things that they should be doing, and we want them to grow and level up. Let's take the outliers now. The people who are doing the things we should be doing, right? People who are providing and giving and all those things. How do they level up? Like where do they start to expand what they are doing for the kingdom? Because all of you guys are outliers and all of you guys have leveled up. And I've watched all of you guys level up in just the last few years alone. And you guys have all leveled up in different ways. Some of you guys have built bigger businesses. Some of you guys have gone deeper into ministry. Some of you guys have built more influence. And, you know, even for me, like this event is one way that I'm trying to level up. It's like, look, I'm really busy. I got 3 kids, a 4th on the way. I've got businesses and other events going on, but I know that this is needed, so I'm going to do it. And this is what God's called me to do, so I'm going to do it. Like, what are you guys doing to level up, even though you're already an outlier?
I'm saying no to more things.
Okay.
I think that's something that you learn the more that you find like what your grace lane is. Like, if I could kind of touch upon the previous conversation, one of my favorite scriptures, I just wrote my first book actually on this scripture. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he might fulfill the covenant that he made with your forefathers. And so there's a power, there's a unique power that God has given every individual to bring value, to be resourceful, and it comes very natural. Doesn't mean it doesn't come without work, but God has given every person the ability to, if they work it, to be able to provide for their own families, right? Now, once I found my lane, a lot of opportunities started coming my way really quickly. And at first it was like just saying yes to everything. But there's a quote that I heard from Rory Vaden, which I love, and it's just been really ministering to me in this season. And he said, diluted focus gets you diluted results. And I've had to make a decision to like really get clear from the Lord about what are the things that I'm saying yes to, and saying no to pretty much everything else. Because at a certain point, if you do have momentum, every time you say yes to a side quest or a thing a thing over here, it might not take away from your business, but eventually that's going to take away from your family, from your personal health. And so for me, I've had to build, especially, and I look at this seasonally. So this season, particularly this summer, besides this event, I'm not traveling for business at all. If anyone wants to do work with me or podcast with me, they got to fly into me. And I'm saying no to a lot of things, but why? Because I know that for what I'm building, it's going to require a lot of laser focus and attention. But I think, like what you said, there's so much opportunity right now. A guy like me, at least, I can get shining object syndrome really quickly. I want to, like, someone's crushing it in crypto. I'm like, I got to take a crypto course right now, or I got to learn real estate. And I've had to learn to be like, okay, I have a lane. I have not even scratched the surface to the stewardship of what this lane looks like. What does God see for this thing that I'm doing 20 to 30 years from now? I gotta really get a bigger vision around that thing, and then have a relentless no, so that I can say yes to the right things.
Good advice.
Yeah.
I think he's totally right, especially within the Christian family. That a lot of believers, man, they should definitely reel into the giftings that God has given them, the visions. If you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever it may be, I think that you should be all in. Something that Tim Tebow once said, and I love this quote. He said, hey, listen, whatever you do, go at it with all your heart as if it's for the Lord and not for men. And if you fall face flat, then you fall face flat. At least you're not going to live with that regret moving forward. So I think it's totally true, and I know that's what we're doing as well. You know, we're you know, we believe that God has given us a vision and a call to make some content, and maybe moving forward we can help so many people, you know, hear the gospel through this channel, and we know that we've reached a lot of people with the gospel through this channel. So I think this is super dope, man, that we're listening to these Christian brothers that, for one, they are pretty wealthy. You know, they're pretty wealthy, and they're able to use their resources to continue to make more content that's going to reach more people, more of the youth here in America and across the world. And people are just going to jump on board.
I think for me, saying yes to this podcast was one of the best decisions I've made in my life recently.
Fire.
Just being able to catch the vision that God gave you, that imparted to all of us and confirmed to us. So, and I love what he said. There's such good advice and wisdom in saying yes to the right things and saying no to the wrong things, right? Like, I love that quote, the diluted focus, diluted results, right?
Wow.
And how often are we guilty of that? I know I am. Like, sometimes I hate saying no because, man, someone's asking me for something and I wanna serve them, or I see an opportunity, man, and I want to pursue it, or right, just like you get caught up and you always want to say yes because you feel like as a man, like, man, if I just say no, I'm just gonna be on my butt doing nothing. Like, I gotta do it. But I think it's important to know what lane God has placed you in, and say yes to the right things. And that comes with depending on His Spirit, right, and knowing who God has called you to be.
Yes, sir.
I agree 1,000%. And also that, you know, sometimes that it comes in a natural way. Like what he was saying, you know, this is not something that you hear a voice from heaven telling you, I want you to go into this occupation, or I want you to do certain things like this. But sometimes it's just an idea, right? An idea that comes to your mind and you're like, I'm intrigued by that idea and I have a sincere interest in this. Let me go and see and pursue this. And then if the Lord is blessing it as you're pursuing it, then continue in it and commit to that. You know, that's going to take a lot of sacrifice, because these brothers here, their success wasn't an overnight success. These brothers here have been grinding, working, sacrificing time with their families, sacrificing time probably with brothers, all around. You know, people think that success is just comes within the first year or 2 years. No, sometimes success can take about 15 years, you know, in the craft that you're building.
It's a long grind.
Yeah, it's a long grind. You know, and that happened to me when I started my cybersecurity journey. You know, I was like, it was an idea that intrigued me that I never studied before. And within 3 years, I saw the fruit of my labor.
Wow.
You know, and the Lord opened up so many doors that people to this day ask, how the heck did you get into, you know, what you studied for?
I asked that.
You asked that, yeah.
I saw the transition.
It was a big transition. And now with the podcast, you know, I said yes to the podcast because, like what Alex said, you know, we saw the vision. You know, I knew that this is what the Lord was calling us to do, because the Lord has given us giftings that to provide value to the rest of the world.
Amazing.
You know, and this is the outreach that God has given us, this platform, and thank God for the internet, because now we can reach people at a global scale. Not only just, you know, with the gospel, but also hopefully to provide value in physical means as well. You know, maybe some charity things in the near future. You know, a podcast with other individuals, you know, giving them a platform to share their success stories, their testimonies, and things of that nature. So it's interesting what God is going to do. And I agree with him 1,000%. You have to know when to say no to something in order to be committed to the lane that God has called you
100%. And it's amazing how the Lord will place the right people besides you that he has a plan and a purpose for.
Yeah,
you know, it's like sometimes, or especially, you know, us that trust in God and believe in God, you know, we believe that everything is under his sovereign will, you know, and everything is purposely knitted perfect. So the people that I have next to me is in God's will, you know, it's in God's purpose. So it's super exciting, man.
Ruslan, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on some of that, like skill acquisition, I wrote my first book and my first devotional. That was like a skill, like a new skill set of learning to sit and ideate and write ideas down and structure them with a publishing company and on my own for my Devo. And then, the book is called Godly Ambition, which obviously like kind of talks about a lot of what we've been talking about. So like that's coming out September 9th, first ever book with a major publisher. And that was a skill that I had to learn, because it's different talking versus sitting and writing
Oh, yeah.
or even ideating
Way
and
different,
structuring
yeah.
things out in a way that can transform people. So that was fun. Like I didn't go get a ghostwriter. I didn't like do a talk and then have it converted into a book. Like I really sat and learned to write.
Yeah.
And with terrible grammar and English being my second language. You know what I mean? And it came out amazing.
I like Ruslan, man. I've been following Ruslan for quite some time. Chatfield, I recently started listening to him. I'd say about 7 months back. But Ruslan, man, he has great content. I actually use his journals. He created this devotional journal that you can write to daily, and it tells you, what are your personal prayers, who are you praying for, what are you grateful for. So it's like lines, and then you just write down the prayer, your personal prayer, people that you're praying for, and it also says daily verse, like as you read, and then you put notes. I think it's super helpful. I've been actually blessed and encouraged by that journal.
That's awesome.
And like he said, there's skills that you learn along the way.
Yeah.
And he developed some skills like, writing a book, teaming up obviously with a big publisher, doing all these things that can help the Christian man in his daily journey, growing with Christ. These things are extremely helpful. So, how can we help brothers and sisters in Christ as we go? So I learned how to edit. I learned how to do shorts. I learned all these things. And these are all, I would say, skills that I never knew I had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But as you pray and you ask the Lord, bless me with, new skills that I'm able to use so that we can, expand the gospel or, reach other people across the globe through the means of the internet. And if that takes editing, that takes audio, that takes speaking, speeches, you name it. Whatever skills that the Lord has given you, you develop those skills to preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're still honing in on those skills also. Where it's a learning, now that since we're new to this space, it's a learning experience. We're just trying to get better and better as the day goes by, study throughout the week, the content that we're going to create, have conversations, it takes a lot of work. It's a grind, and this is the grind that people don't see. People usually see the results, but they don't see the in between, the start and the middle ground. And the middle ground is the hard part. Starting is the hard part, but keeping it consistent is even harder because you can get discouraged looking at numbers, looking at this, seeing the engagement and things of that nature. But when you have the mindset, okay, what is my true purpose in doing what I'm doing? Is it because I want the numbers, or is it because this is where the Lord has me and to be faithful to and to commit to it? Right, because we're doing it to be faithful to the Lord and what He has called us to.
Yeah,
come may come, then hey, it is what it is. It's that's just the way it rolls.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're doing it for the money, for the clout, for the clicks, popularity, your own glory, at least as a Christian, man, you're gonna get burnt out.
Yeah.
And God's just not gonna bless it, bro. You might make money, you might get followers, but I think ultimately
you lose the plot.
you're gonna lose it. He's gonna pull the rug out from you, right? He's gonna humble you.
Yeah.
I'm just privileged to be a part of this pod and preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And just be part of men that I am loving to get to know, becoming true friends, and we're just doing life together, and we're gospelizing the culture.
That's right.
And we're just serving right now. Like, we ain't making money from this.
Yeah.
And then the goal, obviously, one day, whatever God does, awesome, right? But right now, bro, we're just working on being faithful.
Yeah.
Right? And how can we grow? How can we learn? How can we be wise in what we're doing and not just shoot from the hip, but get better, right?
Yeah.
How can we learn from people like this who started out like us and grew and learned and trailblazed ahead of us?
That's right.
So to God be the glory, bro.
They started just like us. They had regular jobs. They grinded in their craft. I think Ruslan used to do hip hop. The other guy used to play baseball. The other one was in digital marketing. These men that God has placed on these platforms right here wasn't an overnight success. I keep repeating it because I feel like I need to repeat that because a lot and because it happened to me. Like, why haven't I gotten to the place where I have wanted to get to if I grinded for 3 years, Lord? Why am I still grinding? Why am I still studying? Why am I still working? Why am I still saving? Why? It's already been 5 years, Lord. I still see no fruit. Well, just keep going. just keep going.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's almost like a principle of like Noah's Ark, right? Like God gave him a message to build an ark because obviously he was going to flood the world. And Noah was faithful for like 120 years in committing to the craft, He got one word from the Lord and didn't hear from the Lord again for 120 years.
Also, Moses in the wilderness.
And Moses in the wilderness.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, the silent, you know, even the silent times, you know, when God was silent for how many years? Was it 400 years after the book of Malachi or something like that?
400 years.
Yeah.
Joseph in Egypt.
And
he was sold by his brothers to slavery. How long he was in there? Until, you know, he was able to tell Pharaoh about the dream that he had.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything is in God's timing, bro.
Exactly,
And God knows his timing is perfect. I rather the Lord's timing obviously over mine's because he knows when I'll be mature to handle, you know, fame, mature to handle money.
Yeah.
I'm ready to steward finances. You know, all these things is in God's timing, you know. So I think it's a super great content, man. I love, you know, Christian brothers that share their experiences, not just that, but also share wisdom.
Yeah.
You know, where you got brothers like us that, you know, we love hearing these things because we're in the same field. Obviously,
Good
you got
strategy that they're doing too.
great strategy, bro. You know, getting together, you know, Ruslan doing these yearly summits. You know, hey, I hope to be at one of them probably
One of
next
those
year.
summits.
We're definitely going to be, Word and Culture is
We will
going to
be
be
there.
at one of these summits next year
You
or
was
the
not
year
Word and
after.
Culture.
Are you
man.
prophesying?
It's a word of knowledge.
It's a word of knowledge. I receive it. We'll be there.
But
God willing.
speak it into
By
existence.
the way, I do
That's
hip hop too, Ruslan. So if you ever want to do a collab, I mean, we do hip hop here. So
Oh
What's
yeah,
up?
yeah. If you want a battle rap, we could do it too. But
I don't know about battle rap.
I can rap too.
Madaka rap gifts too for Christmas. So if you guys are looking for some gifts to be wrapped,
Exactly. I rap great gifts.
but yeah, man, I thought that this topic was super interesting, man. Ruslan Chatfield, Ryan Pineda, and the pastor. I think they're great, and definitely you guys should go check out their podcasts, man. Super good, very knowledgeable. There's a lot of wisdom in them, and but yeah. Until the next one, let's get it. Deuces.
Peace.